Good morning, afternoon, evening again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm George Mouse again here at allpointstv.com. We're doing a special program today, and we are bringing to you a person running in the 50th district in the state representative body here in Michigan, and we wanted to bring her in the studio and ask her a few questions about her candidacy. And this is Miss Christina Fitchett-Hickson, and I want to thank you for coming in, and hope you will stay tuned as we kind of quiz you about your campaign.
Okay.
I have some of your literature here, and I was looking over some of your positions, and I want to ask you to clarify those for the viewers. And
Okay.
some of them, I see that you have some right-to-life positions.
Yes.
So let me ask you about those. There's a question here that I wrote down. Do you support the overturning of Roe v. Wade? That was the Supreme Court case in 1973. And I was just wondering, under your campaign, how do you feel about that? Because it seems like that's coming up at some point in the near future with the new court that we have.
Well, I believe that government, as a Republican, government should be smaller. It shouldn't be anything that overturns the people's will. And Roe versus Wade actually took a lot of people. There's a lot of people they're very unhappy with what happened with Roe versus Wade, including the person themselves who did it all.
Tell about Mrs. Was that Roe was the one that kind of changed her mind?
The one who started all of this has actually wanted to fix their mistake and have been very unsuccessful. And they've been praying that that doesn't have to go through for the rest of their lives.
Yeah,
you know?
I do remember reading about that. I think in that case
They want to undo it.
by the time the case got to the court, she had already had the child, and she was able to see what miracles she had produced.
And
that was the cutting edge right there in her changing her mind.
Well, all things work together for good, and people got to see the silver lining. And sometimes God, for us Christians, we're the ones who are being called to make these changes, to heal our land. Like 2 Chronicles 7:14 says, it's for my people who are called by my name. He's not talking to anybody else. Yeah. So the Christian, it's time.
And I would tell the viewers that before we went on the air, Christina wanted to do a prayer before we start the program.
Of course.
So we know what a God is. Okay, so you said though that you think that it is about choice. Is that the way you see it, or you think that abortion should be outlawed nationwide?
I think what it is it's about choice, and really, people don't realize they have a real choice. They're not being given both chances. I think once they realize that those babies are real, they're being told lies. I mean, if you've watched Unplanned, you'll see what I mean. Mm-hmm. They're being told all kinds of lies, and those lies need to go away. Once they go away,
one of the lies.
The problem.
Yeah, one of the lies is they're saying fetus. I think when you don't birth a fetus into the world,
it's a baby.
You birth a human being.
That's right.
And so this fetus, this language that we're using, kind of excuses the act because you don't see it in the light of you are actually exterminating a life. A child is being exterminated.
Yes.
And that puts a whole different spin on it. So you are, in terms of Roe v. Wade, what is your position again about Roe v. Wade, the ruling itself?
I believe that it needs to be overturned because abortion is obsolete. We have so many ways of dealing with this. People don't need it anymore. They're holding on to it like a security blanket. Mm-hmm. And it's not. It's killing children. And it's people that God meant to come into the world, and you're playing God.
Yeah, I think that's the way of looking at it. That's kind of like my own lens. My position is that the choice is the choice you made when you were involved in the act of the child being created.
Yeah.
The other issue that comes after that is your not wanting to deal with and live with the choice you made. Right. The choice has already been made. You made the choice in terms of the activity.
Well, they say that there is an actual choice in your body, that your body, if it doesn't want the baby, really, truly want the baby won't be conceived. Mm-hmm. That it won't turn into a baby. It won't explode. The life won't come. You won't see that explosion of life.
That certainly be a better way than doing
They've
what
been
they're
doing
right now.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's abortion is now obsolete because people now have so many ways to choose. They're just choosing to wait to the last minute and not fix the situation before it begins. If they did something that was going to possibly create a baby, there are things they can do to fix that. If they were harmed in any way, they can go right to the hospital and that baby will not be created.
At what point do you think that the child is a living being? Is it the point of conception, or is it some time down? Some people say after 2 months, then you shouldn't be aborting a child, or they're even saying now, even after they're talking about post-abortion, post-birth abortion.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
And
that is just ridiculous.
That is really, I couldn't believe that when I heard it over there in Virginia with Ralph Northam. That seems to be, that's clear. That's a clear case of murder.
It is.
Although the child has the right to be born. Our whole document is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We have that in our documents in the Declaration of Independence.
And just because we're an unborn baby and we can't talk does not mean that we are not thinking that we want to live.
So at the
we
point
can have pain, we can have we can feel suffocation, we can feel burning. The things they're doing with abortion are killing people in the womb that feel pain. If you watch Unplanned, you'll see their quote unquote fetus. I call it the baby. Suffering.
Yes. At what point do you think that when do you say life starts? Does it start at conception, or is there some point down from that it starts?
They say there's a big burst of light that happens
at the point of conception.
At the point of where it starts dividing.
Mm-hmm.
Then it divides into something, and then somehow there's a big burst of light, and then it really turns into what we know as our baby.
Mm-hmm. See, I'm really interested.
I've been studying it for some time.
I see. You gave me some information before we started, and one thing I'm going to be doing is I post every day on Facebook, and I'll be writing about Dr. Fitchett tomorrow, so that she gave me some ideas I can use in my post.
It's stuff that I couldn't believe.
Yeah,
it was unbelievable.
I think once
I'm going to do some more research and find some more examples.
Yeah, my point tomorrow is going to be that when you have a cellular structure, which a virus does not have a cellular structure, it's a particle. Correct. But I think if you have a cellular structure, then the cellular structure is where life is. And so when I was asking about where does the point of life starts, would it start? I mean, is it going to start when there's a heartbeat, or is it just in the conception itself? Well,
we're finding that most people believe that it starts with the heartbeat, where the heart is beating, the blood is flowing, and the baby is actually thinking, the brain, all that stuff is developing, and it's a baby. I mean, it is undeniably, unquestionably a baby.
A baby, not a
I'd say almost, yes, I would say 99% of all people understand that is reality.
Yeah, I don't think I heard it. My sister had 2 children out of wedlock. And I think I was the first babysitter in the household. I babysitted my children, my sister's children. I was 13 years old, and she had to go to work now because she had to feed the children. I never heard a discussion about the children that she had. She was 15 and 16. She had a child at each age level. And it never was a discussion of the children coming in. We had limited food. There was not a whole lot we had to eat. We never talked about, I didn't hear that word fetus. She was pregnant with children.
That's right.
And we knew those children were going to be born. We never had a discussion about it otherwise. And so when I started hearing the word fetus, I don't know exactly when it started, but I didn't hear
probably around high school for me.
Around high school. About what year would you say?
I would say probably in the 80s.
In the 80s. I know, yeah, because that was back in the 60s. Yeah. And it just was never a thought.
Well, it's a way to dehumanize.
And I see that we've changed. That just, again, how much we've changed over time in this country. But boy, did we, it wasn't, we couldn't even think about it. As the children not being born.
That's right.
So I would
But
say
babies
that,
are the most precious gift we have.
I would say so. And if you don't have children, you're not going to have a future. And
that's true.
That song is right about.
You don't go on. There's nothing to go on with. And see, here's the thing. Adoption is one of the most wonderful gifts you can give a woman.
Mm-hmm.
When she cannot have a baby of her own, to adopt a child. I know when I was teaching, before I had my own, they're my babies.
Right. You know what? I can understand that.
They're my babies.
I felt.
They still are.
You know what? I didn't.
I still love them.
I feel the same way. I didn't get married until I was 37, so I was kind of like the older guy.
Well, good for you.
But the reason why I didn't do that, I had this idea. I was married to my students. I don't mean.
Yeah.
I mean, I just have them over to the house all the time. And
Me too.
My day didn't end at 3:00. My day ended sometimes 7, 8 o'clock because we always were interacting. And so I kind of looked at it that way. I kept thinking to myself, well, I don't need to get married. I have my own family. But then I met my wife. Then I bet you.
Well, then
so
God showed you another way.
But that's true. But I do understand the impulse. And
Wonderful.
When you work with children, I think you have a different attitude about it also because you
Yes.
are working with these miracles in your classroom.
Yes.
And
Every day you get to see a miracle happen.
And I've never met one person, I will say this also, that I've not met one person that was for abortion retroactively in their own lives. Have you ever found anybody that would like to have had the abortion back to the time period when they were conceived, and then that would have been applied to them, and then that circumstance imposed upon their own life?
Oh my.
See, I don't. Nobody agrees with that.
Yeah,
But
I
the
don't think that
imposition
would
of
be
other
a good
lives,
idea, no.
that's where the.
I don't think I've ever heard in my lifetime anybody say that I wish I had an abortion. They always are happy they didn't.
Yeah, and some of the people like take Dr. King. I saw on TV this morning. She was talking about John Lewis and the funeral and all that.
Yes.
And she has had an abortion. She was saying she goes around right now teaching how she is sorrowful that she went through that.
A lot of people are.
Man, how do you reverse? You can't reverse it. So
You can't. You just got to make up for it. You got to train and teach the people that are going to have an abortion. Teach them that there's another way out. There's another way. You can give that child a better life if that's what you don't want. You don't want the child to grow up in poverty. Fine, give the child another life. A child needs to live because God has a purpose for this child. And I've got a great example. And this is way back when abortion was not really as prevalent. And probably this person would never have become who they became if abortion was around during the time they were there. Their mother was a victim of incest. And that child was born very malnutritioned. They didn't even know she was pregnant. Just out pops this baby. And the family had to figure out what to do. So she searched in the family for anybody, because, they're part of the family. We searched in the family for anybody that needed a child, that would take care of this child, because obviously it's going to be a constant reminder of what happened. And so this person had just had their child die tragically in an accident with a baby bed. And they were dealing with the guilt of not going in there when they heard a little whine or a cry, just like and they were dealing with all that horrible tragedy. And then this baby comes into their life, and them and their husband and them were just given this beautiful gift. And this person went on to be a great soul winner, a great pastor. He went on to serve his community. Until the very day he died, he served his community and told people about Christ. And they were a great soul winner and brought many people to know the Lord.
You don't know what that child will become. And there's some answers that we don't have right now that we probably would have if we had those 60 million that they have terminated the life in this country.
We have no idea what they could have done.
We don't have any idea of what would have been
They could have
accomplished.
cured cancer.
Everyone
who
is a
knows
potential
what could have
miracle.
happened.
Yeah, your miracle in terms of, when you look at the process of life, that in and of itself is a miracle. And then what you accomplish on the other side of it is a miracle in the making.
his 6 kids, his 18 grandchildren. I mean, all this would never be if it was for abortion. So think of the possibilities that God missed out on dealing with people. Think about the great people that we lost.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I never thought, as much as I was involved in poverty, I never thought I didn't have a chance. And I kept being reminded in those classrooms by excellent teachers that I had that what I had to do. When we were in there playing around, they reminded us of the forces that we had to overcome in life itself to get to our goals.
That's
and they were
great.
always, and I heard this 12 years. They kept telling me in the classrooms. I'm in Birmingham, Alabama. They kept telling me, and during the segregation period, they were telling me I had to be twice as good. What I will always credit them for is they never told me why. Because that's why children put their head on their desk. They always tell them what the problems are. They told us what the solution to the problems were.
Exactly.
And they were saying it'd be twice as good. So we're in the classroom working. We don't know why we are working so hard, but it has working because they kept telling us we'd be twice as good as somebody else. We didn't know who the persons were. We were just simply, I believe that the teachers, we working in the classroom. So I consider myself to have great skills because of that. I've been on.
They wanted to encourage you.
They wanted encouragement. They didn't want to discourage me by telling me what the problems were, and then I got my head on my desk sleeping because I'm overwhelmed by the problem. But they talked about what the solution was, and
That's right.
I see what they were doing was creating possibility.
Well, on my website, speaking of problems and solutions, I have some solutions to our situation with the police.
Okay. We need those.
Flint, as you know, is well known for what they've been doing, where they've been working hand in hand with police. Well, that started back in the Flint Community Schools.
Okay.
As I was working in Flint Community Schools, we had a program. We had our police buddies. We had our cop buddies. And some of the most at-risk students had a cop buddy. And they got to know them. They got to know their family. They got to know everything about them. And they would come to school just to see their cop buddy. Or the police would stop by their house and say, "Hey, I didn't see you at school."
Yeah, that's true.
And it was amazing, the relationships that were created. And you can see them to this day. You can see them with Chris Swanson and how he can come up to the adults, the young adults that are supposed to be so crazed and, in other areas they are. But in our areas, they're not. They're very open to the idea that police are their friends because that's what they grew up with.
Now, when they had the community schools, which that idea was incubated right here in Flint.
It was.
Were you a student in that time period, or where were you?
I was a teacher.
You were a teacher at that point.
And I had one of my students was, as he moved up, I got to see him grow and graduate from the school in his 6th grade.
Yeah, that was one of the great things that we lost in terms of community school directors because they had the schools after the school. I went out to Grand Blanc, and when I went out there that first time, I looked in there. The bell is time the school day is over. I'm on a committee studying the school. And they had as many students in that school after the school day was over, the regular school day, as they had during the school day. And I looked at all the activities. I could see why their scores were up because they had so many things going on they were excited about. If the classroom was not that determinative, all these activities were exciting about being in the school.
Exactly.
And I think that's why the
Mr. Anderson was our activities director at the time I was there. And he was paramount to getting our activities together. And he got me involved in after-school activities because I used to stay after and I used to tutor all my students. If they were having problems reading, I'd take that time and I would stay after. And he noticed that. And he's like, "I'm going to get an after-school program going. I've got 6 teachers that sit at after school working with their kids. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to get them paid." So he got us a salary for staying after and donating our time. It was wonderful. Of course, I stayed double the time, but who cares? It was fun.
What grade level are you talking about?
I was teaching 3rd grade at the time.
3rd grade, okay. That's that formative time.
Yeah.
And I have
continued that for 11 years, though.
That time period in a child's life, that formative period. Because most children, the stats say that children are very excited about school, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade. They say something happens between 3rd and 4th grade, where they start becoming a little bit less interested, and they kind of beginning to see this is maybe not the friendliest place that I could be that kind of thing. But
They want to go out and play.
Want to go out and play.
They like
but
that.
You were that teacher that would put that extra mile in.
Oh, yeah.
And I had a lot of teachers like you. Now, what prompted you to run for the position that you're running for right now? What was the thing that compelled you to want to seek a political office?
I actually started wanting the political office of Congress. And reality set in later, no. But what happened is I met President Trump's sister, and she was telling me about how we needed people like me in Congress, people that really cared about our communities and that would stand up and say the things that need to be talked about, that would talk about those tough things and had the experiences being a teacher and all that. And so I thought about it. And I thought, yeah, it's empty. I'll do it. So I got it. I got my own money together and started a little website, and people donated and got me started. And I met a lot of people, and it actually drew me to the Genesee Republicans. And I realized that's where I'm going to be. I'm going to definitely stay with Republicans because I think a lot of people are being drawn there from God. I think a lot of our Christians are stepping up to take their rightful places in government because we kind of let people step in and take our country. And so I read 2 Chronicles 7:14.
Okay.
And I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And I did it, and I haven't looked back since.
I see. Now you met Trump's sister.
Yes.
Not the one up there that's bashing him right now.
No.
Not
That actually is a niece.
That's a niece.
Yes, that's a niece.
Oh, that's right. You're exactly right.
She is actually the offspring, I believe, of his brother, who had passed away.
You're right.
And
You're exactly
I think
right.
maybe that situation she dealt with her father probably led to this.
Yeah, I don't
situation.
see. Now I haven't seen the sister out there. Where I missed her.
She's the one that I know is the one who worked with Chase. Her name is Elizabeth.
Okay.
But she, of course, married. So she doesn't have the last name Trump. So
I don't
she kind
see
of
her
is
in the
hiding. I'm not going to tell you her last name.
Okay.
So you-
I didn't.
for her own personal.
Is she around the campaign at all? Because
I met her when I was in New York.
Okay.
And she doesn't really get involved too much with the campaign. I just happened to have brunch with her, and she took us out, and we enjoyed a nice lunch and a chat, and she's really sweet. And the people all around New York loved President Trump, and especially Manhattan. And they have great memories of what he's done for their city.
Really?
Oh,
they
yeah.
They have good memories about him now, though. I know they had good memories.
Well,
memories about
unfortunately,
him
the
before he
good
ran.
people.
Yeah,
of
they
the
loved him
city,
before he ran for president. They still feel that way. You think now about him?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, because I see a lot of these.
But a lot of them moved out.
Yeah,
Just like he did.
I see a lot. Yeah.
The taxes are terrible.
Yeah, he was great. You'd be surprised at how many people thought he was so great before he ran. Oprah was talking about how he should run. When he ran, then they started running from him.
Yeah.
But I think
It happens.
Yeah. What kind of coattails you think he'll have while you're going to be running in the election in November? You got a primary coming up tomorrow, which I think you'll get through.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of results from the primary.
I see, and then
You're going to see his support.
What kind of coattails you think he'll have in Michigan again? You think he's going to win the state again as he did in 2016?
Yeah, I think all of Michigan really loves him because of what he's done. It's promises made, promises kept. He's always giving credit to God, and I think the Christians really appreciate that. That he's kind of like God's president. He's a praying man in the White House again. Mm-hmm. I've never seen a president pray like him.
Right.
I mean, I saw a president that said he prayed, but I never got to actually see him pray. And he gets out there and he prays every day.
Yeah, he's a very different character now.
Mm-hmm. He's a very different character. The day he walked into office, I believe that's when God just kind of said, "You know what?
I think so.
I've got you here now. Now let's work together."
Yeah, Christina, I think you're right. I think that Trump, when history is written, and we stand back from it just a little bit, I think that history is going to record that Trump pulled this country back from the brink.
I think so too.
We were going over the edge here, and he came out of nowhere.
Well, he's never changed. His whole ideals have never changed. He's always talked the same way. He's always warned us. We just never listened until it actually happened. And he was like, "Please, guys, do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to run," you know. And he's just a really great guy, and he's always cared about other people, and he's always wanted to help. I'm sure you noticed that him donating some of his money for.
Yeah, all of his salary's being donated for the last 4 years.
Did you notice when the person lost their daughter, I believe it was, just recently, he donated to the funeral?
Okay, that's the kind of person he is.
You're not going to see that kind of stuff. And because of that, people need to see that, wait a minute, why am I not seeing this? They really are censoring this. Why are they censoring this? That's what you have to really ask yourself. As a Christian, you have to ask yourself, why are they treating him like that? Why are they accusing him of things he hasn't done? You know?
Why do you think?
Why are they going after him when they were never going after him before?
Yeah. Well, why do you think they're going after him like they're doing?
Well, I think if he continues the way he's been doing with helping the people personally, on a personal level, he gets involved with people's personal business. They write him, he writes back. They give him a problem, he solves it. You know, these kinds of things, being there for the people, they're going to support him, and he's going to get in, and then he's going to continue bringing us back into our greatness of our country by putting God first, by helping us with our priorities with the people. You know, he is going. Did you see what he did with Chicago? I thought that was the most amazing thing. He declared Chicago to need help. Look, I see this happened. Look at all these deaths. I can't watch babies die. Babies are dying every day. We can't have this. Stray bullets everywhere. You guys already have your guns gone. You have no way to protect yourselves. I'm going to send you an army. I'm going to send you some people to help you.
Yeah, that's kind of leader he is.
And that people see. And they know he did that not to take over, not to be a Gestapo, but to protect. That's what that's his job.
I think that's the president's job. The CEO of the nation has responsibility over all the nation. He's the all-encompassing officer. He's the only one that we all as an electorate vote for. We don't vote for all the officers anywhere else except in the executive branch.
Yes.
The president is a single person we vote for as a nation.
Serve and protect all the states.
And he's assigned that responsibility in Article 2.
He's the head cop.
He's the head cop.
Because he's the executive branch.
Sure.
The police are our executive branch. People don't realize that, but they're going after our full executive branch.
Yeah, I don't think we
They're
understand.
not going after another branch right now. They're going after the full executive branch, and they're trying to take over our legislative branches.
Christina, you and I have talked about this off camera, and I think you're the one that understands the Constitution a lot more than some of these persons in Washington. I hear them talking about things that have been already resolved, like they're talking about should we count all of the people inside of a state, whether citizens or not, and they're talking about that's already been resolved in Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, the 3/5 clause.
That I taught when I taught fourth grade.
Yeah, you said it was a fourth grade conversation, but they don't.
It's a fourth grade conversation.
It's amazing.
We made songs about it and everything.
Tell me, what do you want to accomplish when you get there in the 50th district representative? What do you want to accomplish while you're there? I know your position on the right to life.
That right there is primary as far as when I'm concerned. I will support everything for right to life so that we can have what we need to have in our country, the protection for our unborn. And I think people just need to realize that what they're doing is wrong, and that it's wrong on many different levels. But
let me
bring me back to a point, though, in my platform about I wanted to discuss a little bit about the role of a legislative branch in our House. And I think when I was teaching, I always thought the legislative branch read all of those bills. And I watch TV, and they do, and they got these stacks of bills, that they're reading, and they're like, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to vote on this,
Right.
But in reality, I find by talking to the people that they don't. And especially that healthcare bill. What is it, 4 feet tall?
Yeah.
We've got to do something about that in our legislature. We've got to stop doing that to ourselves. Right. Why make our job harder? Our Constitution, how thick is it?
Very thin.
It's a thin little piece, but it does so much. Why can't we do that with our bills? Why can't we have something that our people can read and say, yes, I do agree to this. Thank you, my representative. Yes, this is what I support. And give them that chance to be part of their government. They don't feel part of the representative
I agree
branch.
with you.
I mean, the representative job.
Yeah, I agree
Their
with you.
representative doesn't represent them.
Yeah, they see it as a chore to read the bill. I remember John Conyers was saying, they're saying, read the bill. As if that was a chore. It's your job to read the bill before you pass on it. They're voting on things they haven't read.
They're like, what do you mean read the bill? Your job is to read the bill. And if you can't, then you need to make the bill readable.
Oh, you should. Yeah, that's true. Or don't vote on the bill that you've not read.
Right.
I don't say
don't vote on it unless you read it. And see, that's the common sense approach that we're missing.
I could not.
Just like we're missing common sense in the Common Core, we're missing common sense in our legislative branch.
I couldn't believe when Nancy Pelosi said you have to pass the bill in order to read it. What is that? That's
like what woke me up.
That's putting that horse behind the cart.
Yes. You put the cart before the horse.
Yeah. Then that belong in the front. So
exactly.
You have to pass the bill before you read it. I mean, I'm trying to get some sense of the thinking that goes on. Maybe something that's a blockage that goes on when you become elected to office.
Well, most of our citizens that are voting want their people to do their job and read their bills.
Yes.
They want their representatives and their senators and all of their Congress and all of their Senate to read those bills.
Yes. What do you think? What do you think we got off somewhere? I know the country that I'm in now is not the country I was born in. I really feel there's two different Americas here. The one that I was born in, I'm saying, and then the one that we're in now right now, who I got some questions here. But what do you think that there was this changing in the political landscape, and what might have caused that?
Well, actually, I believe it was always here.
It was always here.
If you go in the back into your history, if you start searching throughout the history and you'll see the people that are running for office and you look at their platforms, they've always had people on that side. They just never made it very far because the people knew better. They were trained in their classrooms better.
Yeah, that's true.
And now that they're
better.
training us just a little different, they're cutting off just a little bit and they're adding just a little bit here and a little bit there and subtracting here and not telling the whole story here. Ever since they started doing that, we've been leaning further and further left in our education. Even our teachers are not patriots anymore. Even our teachers don't want to pledge the allegiance to the flag.
Yeah,
even our teachers don't respect that process.
That's amazing to me. I was raised in my school, my high school. We had prayer at the beginning of the school day. There was nothing. This is before the Anglo versus Fatale case came in '62. I came out in '61. So in our high school, the day started out with prayer, and then you went to your classes.
Yes.
You met in the cafeteria, in the auditorium. And they had a prayer, and then we disaggregated the student body into different classrooms and started the school day. And so it kind of had a calming effect upon the school.
It does.
And so when I get to 2020,
A sense of purpose.
I'm trying to ask myself, what happened? So you say it's always been here.
It's always been here.
Always been here.
It came over when we lost, well, we didn't lose, but they did. They lost in Germany. And when Hitler lost, the people came here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So some of the
we've had a lot of the people from Germany that were part of the SS
we don't
that
talk
did
about
not
that
get
too much.
prosecuted.
Yeah, that's interesting.
They snuck into America and brought their ideas and their children eventually with them.
Yeah. So
we actually know one of them.
Yes. So you're saying that's one of the things that has the country has been altered in some ways that were not always apparent.
Yes. One of our former ambassadors to Russia actually came out and told on him that, Mueller, his father came from Germany and was part of that system, and he should have been not allowed to be in our politics and join our, government positions.
I see.
So,
that's an interesting point. I hadn't thought about that. Because I know I've lived long enough. My mom kept telling me, just live long enough, you think I'm wrong. And I always thought she was wrong. So I got to be, but I want to. I'm going to my mom's gravesite in 3 years. I'm going to tell my mom. I'm gonna have a seance there and kind of like a silent prayer. I'm gonna tell her that I lived long enough, Mom. You told me if I lived long enough, I found you were right. I lived to that moment. That was
You're
some
right,
years
Mom.
ago. But I learned that when I
She's
began,
out there somewhere. She heard you.
when I got into a ready-made family. So my wife, okay, we had 3 children. My wife had 3 children, and it wasn't until I had these 3 adopted children, because my wife had them, and so I adopted the children my wife had. And I really began to look at my raising those children up, but I was raising them through the lens of my own mom. And I realized that I'm saying the same thing my mom said.
Wow.
So
Isn't it amazing? We become our parents, right?
Well, we had a wonderful conversation, Christina. I've enjoyed it.
Yes.
Let me give you a minute to collect your thoughts, and maybe
Sure.
you can wind us down by giving us some final thoughts in your campaign.
Okay.
The time and when it's going to happen and things of that sort. We can kind of close this conversation out.
Yeah. Well, we've got a lot of things we've got to do. In other words, we have to get our intelligent citizens involved in our government, ones that actually know what our government is supposed to be doing, ones that can make really good decisions and vote for what they need to vote for the people. And I think we have a lot of Christians that don't feel represented. And I think this election, they're going to stand up and they're going to do it. They're going to do exactly what 2 Chronicles 7:14 says. It's my people. So he's talking to the Christians. And they want their land healed. They will vote the way that they're supposed to. And it will be pro-life. Because I think that's where God is going to put the line.
Okay, well, I'm glad
A
you
lot
came
of
in.
people say pro-life is the one issue that they're voting for. It's a one-issue vote.
Okay. I want to thank you for coming in, Christina.
So
I wish I was
I'm
in your
the
district.
one candidate that's pro-life here.
Yeah.
So if they vote for me, then they're voting for that one
Okay.
issue.
Good luck in your campaign, and I'm
Thank
looking
you.
forward to the outcome tomorrow. Don't forget to go to the polls tomorrow. The polls open at 8 o'clock and probably close around 8. Cast your vote, make your verdict known, and hear your voice to be heard. Okay, thank you again, Christina, for coming in.
Yes. Oh, and one more thing.
Okay.
We have to also remind our people we are going through a lot with COVID, and a lot of people don't have a lot of money, and we need to stretch this budget. So we're going to need responsible spending, and that is another thing that we are going to be doing with my campaign. We're going to, with my representative of Lansing and in our area, in Lansing. We are going to be working very hard to get that money for the people. President Trump has actually mentioned something about a holiday from the taxes coming out of our paychecks and stuff like that. So we're hoping for that, and we're hoping to take that. Maybe we can even do that for Michigan. Michigan could have a tax holiday, and we could take that money and let the people have it so that they can recover for their businesses, for their people, for their rent, for their electricity. A lot of people are getting behind in their utilities because we're waiting. We're waiting for this. We're waiting for this check, and they're doing it to us again. They're wanting mail-in ballots for November, and they're holding back that money. And so vote. If you vote in the primaries, vote for people who are going to give you that money, not people that are going to hold it back and give it to you like you are like a dog begging for it.
I see. Well, you're going to carry some brains in there. We're looking forward to you arriving in the 50th district.
Yes, I'm looking forward to winning the primary as well.
And I think you will come out.
I believe God has
well.
done a lot to put me here.
Looking forward to seeing the outcome tomorrow. Thank you again, Chris, for coming in, and we will see the outcome tomorrow after the polls close. Looking forward to your candidacy again in the fall.
And you know what? And who knows? Maybe even next Congress.
All right.
I still got my campaign open there.
We look forward to that as well.
That committee.
Okay, Christine, thank you for coming in. It's been enjoyable. I've learned a lot, and I've been inspired by your conversation.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, and thank you for tuning in.
I'm hoping
those
to
of you who
inspire
are
others
the
too.
persons at our different listening stations, WFOV 92.1, also here at allpointstv.com. Thank you for staying tuned. Till next time, I want you to follow your dream.
Yes.
If you don't follow your dream, you'll never know what's on the other side of the rainbow.